जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Caitanya Charitamrta Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrind Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We're continuing with our reading of Chaitanya Charitamrta. We are on chapter 8 on Madhya Leela. So you can use your phones, go to vedabase.io, vedabase.io. You go to Chaitanya Charitamrta, Madhya Leela. This is chapter 8, titled Talks Between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. And we are on text 283 today. Please repeat. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, and then this is text 8 to 83. Do you have it in your phones? Okay. This is Madhya Leela, chapter 8, text 283. 283. Yeah. Dekhi Ramananda Haila Anande Murchite. Dharite na pare dheka porila bhumite. Dekhi Ramananda Haila Anande Murchite. Dharite na pare deha porila bhumite. Dekhi Ramananda Haila Anande Murchite. Dharite na pare deha porila bhumite. Please chant. Ananda Haila Anande Murchite. Dharite na pare deha porila bhumite. Dekhi Ramananda Haila Anande Murchite. Liki Ramananda Hoya Anande Murchite Dharite na pare deha porila bhumite. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This is the word for word. Dekhi, seeing this form. Ramananda, Ramanand Rai. Haila, there was. Anande, in ecstasy. Murchite, fainting. Dharite, to hold him. Na, not. Pare, able. Deha, the body. Parila, fell down. Bhumite, on the ground. Translation. Upon seeing this form, Ramananda Rai lost consciousness in transcendental bliss. Unable to remain standing, he fell to the ground. Please repeat. Upon seeing this form, Ramananda Rai lost consciousness in transcendental bliss. Unable to remain standing, he fell to the ground. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Caitanya-manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. So upon seeing this form, there was this very unique form that Ramananda Rai saw. And this is where, at the end of their conversation, and then Ramananda Rai is seeing Mahaprabhu in a very specific way. Does anybody remember how he sees Mahaprabhu? How Radha and Krishna both? Does he see them as two separate people? There is a very specific... No, it's not the Shadbhuja form that he sees. Yeah. So we have to go back for that to text 268 actually, So externally, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in which form? He's in the form of a sannyasi, right? He's wearing the saffron robes. He's taking a small pot, water pot, and all of that. But then in text 268, Ramananda Rai says he sees him a little differently. Ramananda Rai then told Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "At first I saw you appear like a sannyasi, but now I am seeing you as Shyamasundara, the cowherd boy." He didn't just stop at that, right? I now see you appearing like a golden doll, and your entire body appears covered by a golden luster. I see that you're holding a flute to your mouth, and your lotus eyes are moving very restlessly due to various ecstasies. I actually see you in this way, and this is very wonderful, my lord. Please tell me without duplicity what is causing this. This is such a unique form that Mahaprabhu showed Ramananda Rai, right? He said, initially, I saw you as a cowherd boy, Shyama Sundara. Now, what color is Krishna as Shyama Sundar? Yeah, this is Shyama. This is the name, right? This is his color. This is the bluish black cloud. That is Krishna's color. But then Ramananda Rai didn't see him that way. So this was Krishna holding a flute, was a cowherd boy, but then he had a golden luster. This is the form that Ramananda Rai saw. So such a unique form that Krishna showed only to Ramananda Rai. He'll say that in the future. And therefore Ramananda Rai, in this previous conversation, was asking Mahaprabhu, can you please clarify what I'm seeing? I initially saw you as a sannyasi, but then I saw you as Shyama Sundara, but then you're not in the color of Shyama. You are in the color of a molten gold. So what is happening here? Is Ramananda Rai's question. And what was Mahaprabhu's answer? Does anybody remember? This is his thing. Mahaprabhu didn't say, oh yeah, I am the supreme person. That's why you're seeing me like that. Yeah, this was Mahaprabhu's point. You are a very, very elevated devotee, Ramananda Rai. Therefore, you're seeing Krishna everywhere. Although I am an ordinary sannyasi, you're still seeing Krishna in me. This is the sign of a very advanced devotee, is that they see the super soul in every person and they think everything is Krishna. Everything is the energy of Krishna. But then, Ramananda Rai, did he accept it? No, he didn't accept it. Actually, he gave the reason for why Mahaprabhu was actually giving him darshan that way. Why Krishna was golden color. Why he came as Mahaprabhu. And we read this the previous week that I was speaking this famous verse. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vrikriti Hladini Shakti Rasmat Ekatmanam Api Vipura Deha Bedam Gatautau Chaitanyakyam Prakatamaduna Tadvayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhava Dyuti Sualitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. Ramananda Rai was saying, no, that's not the cause. Although he was an incredible devotee, Ramananda Rai, he was not accepting Mahaprabhu's argument. Of course, Ramananda Rai was Vishaka Sakhi herself, right? This is very, very intimate associate of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, she actually knew what was happening here in the form of Ramananda Rai. He's telling Mahaprabhu that that's not why I'm seeing you this way. This is because you're Krishna, but then you've come in the ecstasy of Srimati Radharani, in the mood of Srimati Radha Bhava Jiti Suvalitam. You have come in the bhava or the mood of Srimati Radharani and have taken her lustre. And therefore, you're Krishna himself, but then you have taken Radharani's lustre and ecstasy and the mood. Therefore, you have come as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This was text 282. This was text 282. So, he's saying, don't be duplicitous with me, Mahaprabhu. I know why this is happening. I want this. I want it to be confirmed by you. I know who you are, but you please confirm what I'm seeing is factual or not. And he gives his proposal to why he's seeing that way. And in this verse, upon seeing this form, this is the form that he saw, is that he initially saw Mahaprabhu as sannyasi, but then he saw him as a cowherd boy, but just not any ordinary cowherd boy, but a cowherd boy with a golden luster. And when he saw this form, he just could not control his ecstasy. And then he fell to the ground. Okay, we'll continue till we have a purport from Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu tare hasta sparshi karaila chetana sanyashira vesha dekhi vishmita haila mana. When Ramananda Rai fell to the ground unconscious, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu touched his hand and he immediately regained consciousness. But when he saw Lord Chaitanya in the dress of a sannyasi, he was struck with wonder. So this vision that he had seems to have disappeared now, right? He was in incredible ecstasy by seeing this form of Mahaprabhu. as Shyamasundara, but with a golden luster. And then he fell to the ground unconscious. And then when he woke up, Mahaprabhu was back to his sannyas form again. And then he could not believe what he was seeing. Ramananda Rai. Text 285. Alingana kari Prabhu kaila ashvasana toma vina ei rupa na dekhe anya jana. After embracing Ramananda Rai, the Lord pacified him, informing him, but for you, no one has ever seen this form. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.25, Lord Krishna states, Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavrita mudhoyam na bijhanati loko mamajamavyayam. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, yoga maya. And so, they do not know me, who am unborn and infallible. The Lord always reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone. The devotees, however, are always engaged in the service of the Lord, serving with the tongue by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and tasting Mahaprasadam. Gradually, the sincere devotee pleases the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the Supreme Lord reveals himself. One cannot see the Supreme Lord by making personal efforts. Rather, when the Lord is pleased by the service of a devotee, he reveals himself. So Mahaprabhu was pacifying him and told him something incredible, right? But for you, no one has ever seen this form. No one had seen this form before. Of Krishna, we've seen Mahaprabhu, right? This is Krishna coming in the mood of Srimati Radharani. But then he is not in his cowherd boy form when he comes as Mahaprabhu. He's a Brahmana, he's Nimai Pandit of Madhya, right? But then for Ramananda Rai, he showed something that was incredibly unique that nobody had ever seen, which was he himself was Krishna, but then he had this golden form, golden lustre. And Prabhupada states in this purport, very important verse from Bhagavad Gita in this regard. Naham prakasha sarvasya, Krishna says, I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. Why? How does Krishna not manifest himself? He says from the verse. Does anybody remember? Yeah, he's covered by Yoga Maya, right? I remember we were listening to this prayers of Queen Kunti by Haladhar Maharaj, right? He was at that time the altar was closed with a curtain, and he was saying, "Is Kalachanji here?" Yes, Kalachanji is here, but can you see him? No, we really cannot see him because he was closed by the curtain, right? So he was giving this example. Actually, he was giving this example from the very similar themed verse from Maya Javanikam Chaiva. Kunti Maharani says that you're covered by your Maya, your illusion, Krishna. That it is very difficult for me to understand you. Mother Kunti was saying in that verse. So Krishna says here very directly, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya. I am not manifest to the unintelligent and foolish, he says. So all of us are covered by one layer, right? What are all of us covered by? There are two kinds of Maya, right? Yeah, the Yoga Maya is there and the Maha Maya is there. The Maha Maya is basically the three modes of material nature, the material energy of Krishna. So all of us have a covering. This is our basic fault in this world, is that we are covered by the three modes of material nature and therefore we are very imperfect in how we act. Because we are tinged by the three modes of material nature, we act in the modes that we are covered by. But Krishna is not really covered by the Maha Maya. This is what Krishna is saying. Although there is Maya, all of the living entities, you are covered by Maha Maya. Don't think that I am also covered by the same illusory potency, Krishna is saying. Right? Krishna is covered by Yoga Maya or his internal potency. Through his internal potency, Krishna doesn't reveal himself. It is not that Krishna is covered by his own material energy, which is basically what the Mayavad argument is. Right? Krishna is also a person, and they basically say, what is this verse? Avajhananti mam mudaha manushum tanumashritam. Although I come in my human form, they think I am like themselves, right? Param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. They do not know my transcendental nature, Krishna says. because Krishna cannot be really touched by his own material energy. Krishna is covered by his Yoga Maya potency. Therefore, that is why even when Krishna was personally present, right, this material senses of ours could see Krishna if we were present 5,000 years before. Right, Krishna was there in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but there were millions and millions of soldiers there, and they could see Krishna. Oh, Mudoyam na bijanati, he says. He's there in his human form, and they thought, oh, this was just a very mystical person. He could do some nice tricks, but he was just like us. He was just a human being like us. So Krishna was completely present, but then still covering himself up through his Yoga Maya potency, through his internal potency. And we could see the same also when he was anywhere outside of Vrindavan, actually. There Krishna can't really cover himself. We'll see why. But he could actually, even in Vrindavan, you could say, in a way, where the demons came, right? When the demons came to Vrindavan, they thought, oh, this is just a small boy. We can easily kill him. He just has some power, extraordinary powers, but he is not more powerful than us. This was the thinking of the demons and Kamsa, and therefore he sent so many demons to Vrindavan. And then this is the same that happens in the yajna that Yudhishthira Maharaj is doing, and they're seeing who should actually take the honors in that yajna, right? And then Shishupala is saying, and actually Krishna is chosen. Bhishma Dev, who is the devotee of the Lord, can actually see Krishna for who he is. Just like how Ramananda Rai is seeing Mahaprabhu for who he is, right? But then there were also others in the assembly who absolutely did not want Krishna to take the first honors, right? Shishupala was saying so many awful things about Krishna in that assembly, and there were so many other people who actually saw Krishna personally right in front of their eyes, and yet couldn't recognize him. This is Krishna, and not just his form. This is the incredible thing about Krishna, is that the name, form, activities, pastimes are not different from Krishna, right? Therefore, we could hear Krishna's words, but then completely miss the point, right? This is the problem with the Gita, is that it's the 700 verses are the same for everybody, but then very few people get this idea that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, right? How is this even possible? That Krishna says, this is Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, right? This is the king of knowledge and the most secretive, right? Raja Guhyam. This is a very, very great secret. But then these verses are there for all of us. What is the secret in all of this? It's not that Krishna is hiding. Okay, for the devotees, I'll give 900 verses. For everybody else, it's 700 verses. You get to 200 extra verses. He's not really doing that, right? It's open for everybody. This is Krishna. And yet, most people miss the point. And Krishna is giving two specific, adjectives for those the kind of people that he never manifests in front of, right? And he's saying the foolish and the unintelligent. Foolish and the unintelligent. Prabhupada actually, I think, in the Bhagavatam verse that Kunti Maharani was saying that we were discussing, says, Krishna did so many wonderful things, right? In Vrindavan, he did so many wonderful things. When he was a few days old, he killed Putana, who was a great demoness, right? And then the Shakatashuras, killing so many demons and lifting the Govardhan hill, just like how Prabhupada says, a child lifts the frog's umbrella, right? Which is basically like a mushroom. Right? It's so light. Even a small child can lift it. And Krishna was lifting the Govardhan hill like that. And now Govardhan is not so tall. But when Krishna was there, I think it was like, 8 miles tall or something like that. It was really, really high, right? 6? Something incredibly, and this was even 500 years back. Giriraj was so tall that when Mahaprabhu left the world, Raghunath Das Goswami in separation wanted to commit suicide from jumping off of Giriraj, right, from the Govardhan hill. Now if you go to the tail of Govardhan, you might have to jump 20 times to kill yourself. So, but Giriraj was really, really tall when Krishna was there, right? And even 500 years back, he was a very big mountain, Giriraj. But of course, he's sinking one mustard seed every day. That's why and at some point, we are fortunate enough to still take darshan of Giriraj. At some point, we might not. have this mercy of taking darshan of Giriraj. So, so many things that Krishna does, right? And yet, people just cannot accept him as the supreme person. And Prabhupada says this is because of stubborn obstinacy. You're being obstinate, which is basically, Prabhupada is stressing this, stubborn and obstinate are the same words. They mean the same. You're being obstinate means you're being stubborn. But Prabhupada is emphasizing these two words put together because of we just don't want to see it. Although there are so many reasons why we can actually see Krishna for the supreme person that he is, we are so stubborn that we don't want to see it. This, I don't know, comes under which category? Foolish or the unintelligent? Most likely the foolish category. Right? Krishna is showing so many different things to prove that he is not an ordinary person. But then most of us think that he's just has some mystic powers. That's it. He can do some magic. This is what Duryodhana was thinking, right? When he was seeing Krishna and inviting him. Krishna came as the peace messenger. They didn't want to have the Kurukshetra war. But then he showed him the universal form actually to Duryodhana. And still Duryodhana could not figure out. But whereas the exact thing, actually the different thing, this was a very unique thing that he showed to Arjuna also. The universal form that he showed to Arjuna was also very unique. It was not the same thing that he showed to Duryodhana. But then the reaction of Arjuna was what? It was completely the exact opposite, right? Duryodhana was trying to capture Krishna, whereas Arjuna was completely surrendered to him. He's paying obeisances from all directions and saying, "Oh, sorry, Krishna, I didn't know who you were." He could actually see Krishna for who he was. And and the unintelligent, Prabhupada says in this purport, are people who think themselves as intelligent. This is his continuation in the purport to see why it is not possible, right? Krishna says 4 kinds of people can never surrender to him, can never approach him. And one of them is Maya Parita Jnana, one whose intelligence is stolen by illusion. And these are not ordinary people in our society. These are very educated people. They are incredibly intelligent. These could be philosophers, scientists. They actually are better than ordinary people because they really want to see what is beyond these basic things that I see in life, right? Beyond enjoyment. They want to see where is everything beginning from, where did we come from. They have these genuine questions. But the problem is, they try to figure out the answers to these questions through their senses. This is the problem. And the senses are imperfect. We know the senses are imperfect. Therefore, the results that we can obtain by using our senses are going to be imperfect also. And therefore, the speculation that we try to do by our experiences using the senses are also going to be imperfect. So therefore, the answers that we are going to arrive to the questions that we have, although the questions might be very important, but the way in which we're trying to approach the question to find answers are completely skewed. So we're going to be taken in a really different direction than where we actually want it to be. These are the unintelligent people, Prabhupada says, are the people who are actually trying to figure out Krishna through their senses. But the problem is Krishna is beyond the senses. He is transcendental to our senses. Therefore, there is no way we can know Krishna through our senses. And this is this famous verse that Prabhupada is paraphrasing in his purport, right? The Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone. But devotees, however, are always engaged in the service of the Lord. And specifically, he says 2 things, and how the devotees are engaged in serving the Lord. Serving with the tongue by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and tasting Mahaprasadam. Do you know which verse is this that Prabhupada is paraphrasing? This is actually a very famous verse from the Nectar of Devotion. On how Krishna can actually not be grasped through the senses. Yeah, exactly. Atha Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhaved Grahyam Indre Sevon Mukhehi Jihvado Swayameva Spuratyada. Rupa Goswami says. Atha Shri Krishna Nama Adi. Like Nama Adi means name, form, activities, pastimes, like that. Na bhaved grahyam indriya. That we cannot really grasp it through our senses. We try to figure out Krishna through our senses, through our tiny intelligence. It's impossible. Na bhaved. It's not possible. So how do we actually know Krishna? How do we actually understand Krishna? Sevon mukhehi jihvado. Through the senses, but specifically through the tongue. Rupa Goswami says, Jihvado. And Prabhupada is explaining further here how we can serve Krishna through the tongue, right? Through the tongue we speak, and through the tongue we taste. So instead of speaking anything mundane, we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, speak about Krishna's pastimes, name, form, activities like that. And then taste Mahaprasadam, taste the remnants of the food that Krishna so mercifully gives us. And then what happens? Swayam eva spurattida. This Ata Shri Krishna Namadi, that's what we're speaking about, right? The name, form, activities, pastimes of Krishna, Swayam eva spurattida. By themselves, they manifest, they reveal. There is no way that we can, with our own senses, try to grasp it. Krishna is completely beyond it. He'll basically, when we are trying to do that, he'll cover himself with his Yogamaya potency. And even for ourselves, right? Think about it. If somebody wants to know us, they're trying to figure everything about us without asking us. They're asking the other person, trying to observe us without us feeling uncomfortable, whatever, right? They don't have any relationship with us, but they still want to know about us. How uncomfortable do we feel? Do we want to tell anything about ourselves to such a person? We in fact go into a shell. Like I don't want anything to do with you. Why are you being so weird? Right? Very creepy. You're trying to know about me, but why don't you just come to me? You come to me and ask me, and I can tell you much more than what you might even ask of me if we have actually a relationship. But yet this is how many people, these unintelligent people, so-called intelligent people, are trying to know Krishna. Is that without having a relationship with Krishna, they want to know about Krishna. We'll figure it out. How the world actually came about. It was from something that was so dense and so infinitely tiny and that doesn't have a dimension, and it all actually had a big bang at some point and created something wonderful. This is how I want to know about the world. I don't want to know about the world by actually seeing the person behind it. Right? And and then with the Mayavadis, it goes a step further. They basically remove all the attributes. Oh, somebody is there, but this is not a somebody. It's just something. Some abstract thing that's there. Doesn't have any eyes, no legs, no form, no qualities, no attributes. To such people, Krishna basically completely covers himself through his Yogamaya potency. Although Krishna might be present right in front of us, we might completely miss him. Right? So therefore, Prabhupada is giving us the way in which we can actually know Krishna, in which Krishna will actually reveal himself to us. Actually going further, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will say why he actually revealed himself. He was trying hard, right? Mahaprabhu was trying hard to convince Ramananda Rai that what he was seeing was not because that was his actual form, but because Ramananda Rai, you're an advanced devotee, you're seeing me everywhere, therefore you think I am Krishna. He was trying really hard to convince, but then he couldn't, right? He had to admit here. Once Ramananda Rai fainted and he had to wake him up, he said, okay, what you saw was actually my form. I admit. And nobody else has seen this form. And the way we can see this through is explained in the Brahma Samhita, right? This is Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. The only way we can see Krishna is not through our material senses, not through these eyes. But the same eyes, when we are chanting the names of Krishna and honoring Prasadam, the senses get purified. And they don't just get purified, but something extra happens to them. What does happen? Premanjana happens. We are anointed with this tinge of love in our eyes through our purification of the senses. The very same senses through which we could not grasp Krishna actually become a medium through which we can see Krishna for the actual person that he is. This is the incredible power of devotional service, is that it can purify something that is so material, and that same thing can actually enable us to see Krishna in his real form. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. This Santa, this incredibly advanced devotees, can see Krishna within their hearts, and everywhere they can see Krishna. How? Because their eyes are anointed with this paste of love, this ointment of love. And when we actually come to this point, we can see Krishna everywhere. But the starting point is to actually engage our senses in the service of the Lord, right? Atha Sri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriye. Without engaging our senses, and we try to use these senses to find Krishna, we'll never be able to find Krishna. But sevon mukhe hi jihvado, when we actually employ those very same senses in the service of Krishna, then Krishna himself appears in front of us. He gives us much more than what we want to know about him. Very easily. We don't even have to struggle so much. Just like here with Ramananda Rai. Look at the discussion that they had. And Ramananda Rai was very clear in the beginning saying, Mahaprabhu, you know everything. You're just asking me these questions. All I'm saying is your thoughts reflected in my mind. This is all that's happening. It's not that I am figuring out all the answers to the questions that you're saying. Now, Krishna reveals everything in Ramananda Rai's heart, and then he is speaking it out. This is Krishna. And not just revealing himself, not just that we can take darshan of Krishna, Krishna actually becomes subservient to his own devotee. This is Krishna. If we have love for Krishna, Krishna actually is ready to become subservient to us, to anything that we want him to do. So this is the actual way to approach Krishna. Instead of trying to approach Krishna through our own minute senses that cannot really know anything at all because they are so imperfect, we're trying to figure out Krishna through our senses. Instead, we engage Krishna, engage our senses in the service of Krishna. Then Krishna will reveal himself to us. And the most difficult of all senses is, that's why Rupa Goswami says, Sevon Mukehi Jihwada. Is the most difficult of all senses to control, right? Do we know this from anything that we sing every day? Yeah, Sharira Vidyajal Jadendriya Tahekal. We sing it like a nice song, right? Because but the meaning is actually not so. It's not like a folk song that we sing. It's actually a very deep song. This is just like how all these nursery rhymes, right? They are actually very tragic when you look at their meanings. But we sing them in such happy tunes. Hey, ringa ringa roses, pocket full of poison. It was actually a plague and people fell down, that's what they were singing about. But then we are all singing it in such a... But then this is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling us, right? Sharira avidya jal. This sharira, this material body that we have is an illusion, a network of illusion. Avidya jal, right? Jadendriya tahekal. Jive pale vishay shagare, tharo madhye jihvadi, lobo moy shudarmati, right? That among all the senses in this body, the most difficult to control is the tongue. But Krishna barodhoyamai kori bari jihvajai swap prasadana dilobai, right? But Krishna is so wonderful that although I cannot control my tongue, which is mainly for eating and speaking, Krishna is so merciful. In this context, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying he has given his Sheyanna Amrita Pav. He has given his remnants to me. And Radha Krishna Gunagav. With the same tongue, you honor his prasadam and then sing the glories of Radha and Krishna. In that way, we can actually purify our senses and see Krishna. Develop this love that we can, through which we can actually see Krishna, instead of trying to figure him out through our senses. If we try to do it, then Krishna is what he says, Yoga Maya Samavrita, completely covered. Sorry, you're not going to get any access. Yeah. We'll stop here. Do you have any questions or comments, thoughts, reflections? Yes, Keli Mataji. Do we have a microphone? You want to use this for now? Battery. Use this for now.
Prabhu. Okay. Hi Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you for the class. It was really sweet and a lot of information. I am a little bit confused when we are saying that we cannot understand Krishna through our senses, yet the prescribed method to understand Krishna is using all the senses. I just don't understand. And then based on your response, I probably have a follow-up question. So.
Yeah. We cannot understand Krishna through our senses in the way that they are presently there. The way our senses are currently there is that they are covered by the three modes of material nature. So when we are covered by the three modes of material nature, there is no way that we can see Krishna because we are not purified enough to see him, right? But when we purify ourselves, then the senses become actually enlivened. Just like anything can be spiritualized, right? Right now, our senses are not spiritualized. They're covered by the material moods. But once the senses become purified, then we can actually see Krishna through those purified senses. Yeah.
I thought you might say that. And my second question is, then how can we understand when our senses are purified? So how do we know if my senses are now purified and I can actually accept what I'm hearing as true, or if I'm just illusory, like or I can actually accept what I'm seeing as true, or you know, how do we know?
Yeah. One thing is, let me see if I can find that verse. I think it's in the first canto, chapter 5. Our senses actually become heightened. Right now, when our senses are covered, they're dull. They're just like matter, right? But once our senses start getting purified, even our sense of perception starts becoming heightened. And we can even think of our senses now and how they were, I don't know, when we started devotional service or before we started devotional service. We can understand things much better. We can see things much in a much better way. Think about the first time you started looking at the deities. How did you see them? Oh, they're so gorgeous. So they're so beautiful. That's the extent of the detail in which we took darshan, right? But the devotees, the pure devotees, when they are more advanced, do you know how they see Krishna? They see every single detail. It's the same sense, right? But they're seeing every single detail. That what do we sing? Venum kwanantam aravinda dalaya daksham. That, oh, Krishna has wonderful eyes. But the devotees just don't stop at that, right? They see, oh, Krishna has eyes that are wonderful. What is making it so wonderful? Oh, it's actually lotus-like. You know, the same sense. Initially, it was a very generalized way of seeing, oh, the colors of the dress are so nice. Then you actually start seeing the details. Our senses start becoming purified, so that Krishna is slowly uncovering his veil, right, and start making us see much more details. They say, oh, Krishna has earrings, right? Caitanya is wearing earrings, but most of the time we don't really see what earrings he's wearing, but the devotees see, right? Oh, he's wearing shark-shaped earrings, right? This is Krishna's earrings, right? Krishna is standing, but then he's just not standing in any ordinary way. Oh, he's bent at 3 places, right? He's standing in a Tribhanga form, because Caitanya is straight. But this is how the devotees see, right? So when we are actually purified, we can actually see much more details. And I wanted to see, this is something that happens to Narada Muni also. You know, Narada Muni is having this association of the Bhakti Vedantas, and then his mother passes away, and he's going in these towns and villages and forests and meditating on Krishna. And then I'm not able to find that verse, but I think it's in chapter 5 or chapter 6. Chapter 6, I think. So you can actually see in many ways, right, that the devotees who are actually not seeing Krishna suddenly are able to perceive things in much more detail. And it's not just when we're really advanced, but it's a process, right? Day by day our senses are getting purified as long as we are engaging ourselves in devotional service. And then everything gets heightened. I remember my spiritual master saying there was somebody who would come to the temple in LA. This was a homeless person. He would just come every week, and then he would just take like 5-6 plates of prasadam, because throughout the week he would just be smoking or drinking. He would just not have proper food, and then he would just load up on food once a week when he would come. And then he was doing the same thing for 1 whole year, and then at some point he went and sat in the class, and then this thought occurred to him that for the whole year I've actually been eating vegetarian food. He's been having 6-7 plates of food, right? But the perception that it was even a vegetarian food didn't occur to him for an entire year. The senses had to be purified a little bit to actually figure out what is happening. Right? It's the same thing. Every single sense is like that, right? When we honor prasadam, we can actually figure out what's there. What is Krishna honored? Is something the cooks can understand this, right? When they're making the bhoga for Krishna, and then when they're tasting it, they're not tasting it to see, oh, how did I cook? But they wanted to see how did Krishna, was some salt missing or this? They're tasting all these very nuanced tastes in the prasadam, right? It's not just about gulping it. Initially, it's about that, right? We're trying to eat as many gulab jamuns as possible, but then over time, our senses start getting purified, and then we're able to start making it finer and finer. Make sense? Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Mataji. Just one press and yeah.
Prabhuji, similar kind of question I also had. So my question is, when these pure devotees, they see Krishna, like we are talking about here, that how Ramanand Rai, he got fainted after seeing this thing, and how Arjun, when he saw the Vishwarupa and how he was paying obeisances, like we are seeing how they are, after seeing the different forms of Krishna, how they are responding to the form. So though they are already close associate of God, like they know Krishna already, like Vishaka Sakhi is here, Ramanand Rai, right? So still like they are getting fainted. For us, like at least we now understand intellectually that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So still when we are seeing, okay, like when we are seeing Kalachandji and Radharani, so at least we know that, okay, we come to this temple, this is our deity, so this is our temple. So that is little familiarity, little closeness is there. But how our mood should be there when we are seeing that, like the Supreme Personality of God in front of us, and we just forget most of the time, we just forget, like we talk. I don't know how to put this question. Like I want to say that, what should be our mood when we already know he's the Bhagavan, and how to feel more about that, it's just technically we know, because we don't have any doubt, like devotees whoever come to in ISKCON and all, like they know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no other doubts in our mind that, okay, there are maybe some other possibilities, that there is no doubt, but still we don't know how to feel more about Krishna.
If I understand your question, we intellectually know Krishna is the Supreme Person, but in our behavior we don't actually respond engage with
that
Krishna
way.
in
Yes.
that really. This is our problem actually in the material world. Now we forget who Krishna is, and it takes a while for us to actually remember who Krishna is. And that is why in the beginning stages of devotional service, we are given rules and regulations so that we don't see Krishna as an ordinary person. This is called Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. All these initial rules and regulations that are given to us are essentially for this point, to constantly remind us that Krishna is not like us. Although he might be in the temple, he might be there like a statue, but then he's still the Supreme Person himself, right? Therefore, Rupa Goswami gives an entire chapter in the Nectar of Devotion on how we have to behave within the temple. Seva Prad he gives. So how we have to sit, how we have to stand in front of Krishna, how we have to behave in front of Krishna. So all these are constantly reminded to us, only to consider this point that Krishna is somebody who is completely supreme. And over time, when we start developing this, the reason why we don't see him that way is because of the nature of why we are here in this world. We think we are all the masters. Right? Intellectually we know Krishna is the master, but we still haven't realized that I am his servant. We still think I am the master. Right? Even when we come to the temple, when we are standing in front of Kalachandji, sometimes we don't have the humility that is required to recognize Krishna as the master. But with the practice of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, the rules and regulations that the acharyas have given us in the beginning, it constantly reinforces this, that you're the servant, Krishna is the master, behave in appropriate ways. This is why everything is there. It's just to create humility in us. And once this humility is there, then we can chant the holy names in the right way. Right? That's the only way we can. Mahaprabhu says, Trinadapi Sunichena Tharo Rabbi Sahishna. In this way, Kirtanaya Sadahari, we can constantly chant the holy names of the Lord. So that's how I see it. Over time, this starts developing, and then we see Krishna for who he actually is. And then it doesn't stop there, right? Then we start becoming spontaneous in our attraction to Krishna. Is that this awe and reverence starts transforming into actual love. At that point, that love is not frivolous. In the beginning, when we actually don't know who Krishna is, in fact, in Tattva, and we start loving Krishna, then we can take Krishna for an ordinary person. But when it is based on a solid platform of knowledge, then that love actually becomes incredibly sweet and spontaneous. So that is the way that we have to constantly remind ourselves that Krishna is not an ordinary person, that he is a supreme person himself. And then Krishna will show that in the lives of the devotees in many ways. If we start becoming, taking Krishna too lightly or becoming too proud, then Krishna will actually pull the cards, and say, oh, you're not really that person. Please remind yourself of who you are, and then Krishna will guide us. Yeah. Any other questions? Or yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I have a question. What is more important mantra? Hare Krishna mantra, Gayatri mantra, or others mantras?
Yeah. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra has a title to it. You know what the title is? It's called the Mahamantra. It's the greatest of all mantras. Mahayoga? Yeah, it's so great because it's very hard for us to overcome it. That's why it's called the Mahamaya. You see? Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya, Krishna says, right? This divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome. So therefore, it is still the energy of the Lord. So, coming back to your question, at least for us as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, there are so many mantras that are there, yes. And everything is equally potent in the sense that Krishna says, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis, Tatrar Pita Niyamata Smaranena Kala. That in every single name of his, Krishna has invested all the potencies that he has. Right? So the name Krishna or Achyuta or Govinda can equally deliver us. But for us, the Mahamantra is considered the most important of all mantras because Krishna himself, when he came as Mahaprabhu, gave us that mantra. And it is coming to us through the parampara and therefore has incredible potency to deliver us. And that is why we consider the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as the topmost of all mantras. And also it's there in the Kali Santarna Upanishad. It is given there in the Vedas also that in the age of Kali, this mantra is recommended to chant, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Yeah. Okay, anything else? Yes, Prabhu.
I'm so curious about these split personalities.
Huh.
You said that Ramananda Roy is actually Vishaka Devi from the spiritual world.
Yeah.
I've also heard that Ramananda Roy is Arjuna. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I know. It's the same with Haridas Thakur also, right? Haridas Thakur, I think, is Lord Brahma and also has the qualities of Prahlad Maharaj also in him. So these are all
in the
the
ninth canto, Sukadev Goswami's running from Vyasadeva, and he just turns into two people. And one of them goes one way and becomes a householder and works with his father Vyasadeva, and the other one goes and speaks the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Maharaj Pariksit.
Oh, really? I
can show that to you. It's in the ninth canto.
In the ninth canto? Huh?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not aware of that.
There's a lot of examples.
Yeah.
So is this like yogis expanding in 8 different directions? Is it two different people? How does this schizophrenia work out spiritual life.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Shukadev Goswami's case there because I don't know. I don't know what that is. At least with Ramanand Rai, I've heard that it is Vishaka Shaki, and sometimes Arjuna also. I don't know how this happens, but there can be different aspects of quality of a certain devotee be invested in a person. Some avesh can happen, Shakti avesh, like that we say, like how Narada Muni is the his bhakti potency is invested in him, right? Bhakti Devi is still there, but then some potency of Bhakti Devi is still invested in Narada Muni. So I think it's a case like that. But I think as a person, Ramanand Rai was Vishaka Shaki, but also had the qualities of Arjuna, I think. If somebody else has a better understanding of this, you want to use the mic, please?
I was just remembering the Bhagavad Gita verse where it talks about, where Krishna says that never was there a time where you nor I did not exist. So like they're saying maybe that Ramananda Roy in this present form, previously his form was Vishaka, or most previously it was Arjuna, then previously before that he was Vishaka.
Oh, I don't think that's the case.
No.
Because Arjuna and Vishaka are two separate people, right? No. No, because I'm sure Vishaka Shaki was there in Vrindavan at exact same time Arjuna was there in Hastinapura, right? But they're two different people. Well, I don't think that's how we resolve this. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Okay, we'll stop here. Shri Caitanya Charitamrta ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa sindhubhyev cha, Patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai.